see you all. I'm here to talk about the mind-body connection. It's what I practice as a practitioner. It's my main area of work as a practitioner. I've worked in this area for about 9 years. My name is Jenny Gilmore. I work here and I do a 3-day process here and in Sheffield and in Leeds called the lightning process, and I do that full time. So, anybody here had experience of the mind-body connection, or do they know of anybody who's had an experience of mind-body, usefully or not usefully? Both. Yeah. Anybody seen anybody have an experience of the mind-body connection, usefully or not usefully? Anybody interested in using that to increase their level of health? Yeah. Anybody not sure that there even is a mind-body connection? Yeah. Often, a lot of people in this country are in that place, and the reason is a good one. Western medicine has a mind-body split. We're kind of mind and body, but our body doesn't know that. We are a brain-body system, and what I'm going to do today is just get you a sense of how that works. Okay. So, what brought me to this? A very unfortunate journey, actually. 1992, I was training to be an occupational therapist when I got glandular fever. And rather than getting well, I was fully fit, fully healthy, fully expected to be back in full health in 6 weeks. Okay? That's not what happened. This is me in 1992, Keen Hill walker, cycling, walking, very, very fit. This is me in 2005. I weigh 7 stone here. I've got multiple food allergies. I'm in bed 8 to 9 hours a day, and I'm only there, that's Runswick Bay, that's that little cottage on the end of Runswick Bay, and I am only stood there because somebody has brought me there, lying across the back seat of a car, yeah, and I'm staying in a holiday cottage just down the road. Okay. And what happened then is that in about 10 years ago, I got myself well, and I now train people in the process that I used to get myself well. And one of my earliest clients was a guy called Steve. Now, Steve had been confined to bed with chronic fatigue syndrome, ME, for 2 years, totally confined to bed. In fact, when I was working him on day 3 in the process, he stood up, and I'm saying, what's the issue here? Because I could see there was something happening. And he says, I'm just so tall. He hasn't been standing, he's been in a wheelchair all the time for 2 years. And whilst he was there, he was determined, he was always going to get better, but he didn't know how to. And whilst he was there, he was busy designing these. This is an on hook. And it's great. They're great in restaurants because you can hang your coat over this great big hook, and there's even space for an iPhone inside the hook. And so you hang your coat up and you put your stuff in the hook underneath. And he's done very well with these. At one time, Steve thought he was going to have to give this to somebody else as a job to do for him. But I worked with him, and then within a couple of days after I was working with him, during the time I was working with him, he was up out of bed and walking a tiny bit. He's then outside walking to the park and back. He's then walking as far as the local shop and the pub. He's then going into town and back. He's then working part-time. He's then working full-time. And his journey is an extraordinary journey, and here he is here. His name is Steve, and this is him in his design studio. So, Steve was determined to get well. I was determined to get well. What was stopping us? What we didn't know was that both of us were stuck in an unconscious, vicious cycle that was running over and over again. And the cycle, absolutely key to the cycle, was this. the fight and flight. Now, if I was to say to one of those lovely receptionists, let's get the tiger now, out the shed, bring it upstairs and bring it in here, what would you do? What would you do? Panic! Yeah? And it's once you've been finishing panicking, yeah, you'd probably be looking for a way out, and if there wasn't a way out, you would be finding a way to fight that tiger. Yeah? And as you were doing that, your resources would be being moved in your body absolutely massively, because what do we need to fight a tiger? We need our limb muscles. Our body is throwing all of our resources into our arms and our legs to fight tigers. We stop prioritising digestion. We stop prioritising our immune system. We stop clever thinking. We don't need that stuff when we're fighting tigers, because if we get got by the tiger, it's a done deal. I'm not going to stop and look at the flowers. Yeah, I'm just going to get out for you really quickly. And so, how long do you think that is designed to run for? That particular thing? Yeah, 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 4 minutes. But what had happened to Steve and me, and what happens to a lot of people very reasonably facing chronic health conditions, is that this cycle is switched on over and over and over again. Quite reasonably, we get quite cross at having a very restricted life. Yeah? That sets off this. Yeah? Quite reasonably, we might feel a bit sad. That can set off this and a whole other host of cascade things in the brain. Quite reasonably, we can get quite fearful about what is going to happen tomorrow, or the day after, or the week after, or the month after. If I do this today, will I be all right? Everything suddenly gets extremely complicated. Right, if I go to that supermarket, I'm not going to be able to go there because I'm going to find it difficult to climb the stairs. And if I climb the stairs there, then I can't do it over there. Yeah? All these kind of things start to affect us here, and they're very, very natural, very, very normal, but unfortunately for us, they're setting off the fight and flight. So this is impacting on us, and so the fight and flight is impacting on us, affecting us quite dramatically. And another place that it will affect us too, medics wouldn't be surprised by this. Actually, they've known for hundreds of years that our health is impacted on by what we expect, what we think might happen. One of the reasons is if they've seen people go into the fight and flight, they've seen it have an impact. One of the other reasons is placebo. You can give people a medication with no active ingredient and it will have an impact, positive or negative. An example of a negative placebo is called a nocebo, and there's this guy. He's been given experimental medication on a drugs trial, and rather than seek support from his friends, he thinks actually life is really tough, and he decides to take all his tablets. Okay. Takes all his tablets and he ends up in hospital, and he's hideously ill, really very unwell. And so the hospital, very reasonably, rings up the company that have made the drugs and said, look, what are we going to do? What are we going to give him as an antidote? And they check through their records, and this man has had the placebo medication. The response in his body, the sickness, the feeling very, very unwell indeed, is all being created by that mind-body link. That's an example of it being used negatively. But actually, there are masses of examples of now of the mind-body link being used positively to help people create change. One of them is placebo. So there was a person, there were a group of volunteers, and they were taking this solution on their fingers, and it was called Navictocane. Navictocane. It looked the part. It was brown. Yeah. It smelt. It had iodine in it. Had a kind of texture to it. Even the name was special. It sounds strong, that, doesn't it? Navictocane. And it had thyme oil. So really strong smell. So what they did was they put navictocane on one of these people's fingers, here, on the person's finger there, and on the other index finger there was nothing. And then they gently put the person's finger in a vice on either side. And guess what? Even though navictocane was made of iodine, water and thyme oil, which have absolutely no pain-killing effect, the response was massively reduced on the finger where the person had had the navictocane. And there are many, many examples from medicine. There's another one where they gave a whole group of clients a very special pill, and it was a stimulant, and their heart rates increases, their blood pressure increases, all kinds of changes. Another group they gave the same tablet, no active ingredient whatsoever, and they called it a sleep-inducing tablet. And guess what? It calmed those people down. You can even tell people that they're having a placebo and it will have exactly the same response. So one medication for IBS, it was even called placebo. It was labelled placebo on the pot, and it worked. Minds are extraordinary, extraordinary things. Sometimes people think, hey, what is this? You know, what's this all about? But actually what it tells us is the incredible strength of the mind. How does this thing work? Well, a group of dental patients were given a medication which stopped their own natural endorphins working. Stopped the natural endorphins working. The placebo effect disappeared. When you brain scan people who've been given a placebo medication for Parkinson's disease, saline actually, they will move better. Yeah, they will move better. Also, their levels of dopamine in the brain will increase. Okay. What we are actually doing is we are utilising our own internal resources. We are utilising our body state so that we're moving into a place where our body is prioritising healing. Yeah. And also, we are using our own internal pharmacy to create the changes that we want. These internal pharmacy is very powerful, and what I want you to do, all of you now, is just to think about a piece of fruit on your hand. I want you just to think about a piece of fruit on your hand, and I want you just to think about it and just get a sense of the texture. It's a favourite piece of fruit, a piece of fruit that you really like. And get a sense of the texture of it there on your hand. Name it, that piece of fruit. Give it a colour. Give it a colour, that piece of fruit. And what I want you to do now is just to bring that piece of fruit up to your mouth in your mind, and just, if you need to, peel it first, and then just take a big bite and taste that piece of fruit in your mouth. Taste it there. Get a sense of the juice of the piece of fruit in your mouth. Get a sense of that there. You might notice something shifting as you do this. Often people start to salivate from the smell and the taste and the sight and the colour and the name of their favourite piece of fruit. When it comes to placebos, actually it's one of the things it does. Small tablets don't work as well as big tablets. 2 tablets work better than 1. If you are suffering from pain of some sort, coloured tablets work better than white. And what they find, they've done some research on headaches, what they find is that associated things, the colour of the tablet, the size of the tablet, the shape of the tablet, do make a difference, even if there's no active ingredient, because it's what the brain expects. Now, let think about modern medicine when it comes to these kind of effects, the powerful effects of what we expect, the powerful effects of moving us forwards, it's not always done like that. In fact, it isn't. In business and in politics and in day-to-day life, most people have a problem focus, and particularly when it comes to medicine, we tend to focus on what is wrong. Okay. We focus on what is wrong, how we can fix it, sometimes who is to blame, when it started. Think of all the questions that medics ask us, but this is all about the problems. It is all about the problem of the issue. Now, brains are interesting things. Yeah? I want you just to think about your left foot just for a second. Yeah? You may not have been aware that you had one until just that second, or the feeling of your watch on your arm. You may not have been aware of that, and that is because our brains can only focus on 7 things at once. So, if we are focused on the problem, the impact it maybe is having on other people, how we're going to fix it, who's to blame for it, and all of that which sometimes people do, and often sometimes people are to blame. But when we're focused in that way, where is the space for those 7 things that really help us? The 7 things that we really want. The changing our environment in ways that support us. Focusing on relationships that focus and keeping us well. All of these things, and the biggie here is something that I'm about to show you now. Shifting your state so that you are accessing your own internal resources for health and healing. Where is the space for that when we are focused, as the medics do, on what is wrong? Or also, they always tell us, don't they? You go in there, they'll tell you what's wrong, they'll tell you the horrible thing that might happen, so your brain's full of that as well. Yeah. And then they hand you these tablets with a great long list of side effects, yeah, some of which are really serious. Now, most people will take a look down that list and think, into the fight and flight, but also not focused on those things that can promote healing. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take you through a short exercise which will help us to move away from the problem kind of stuff, which is all incredibly reasonable. None of it's our fault, it's just the way brains work. Yeah? Brains are very good at spotting negatives. And what we're going to do instead is we're going to draw a line under any of that for a moment and focus on a positive. And if you're in great health at the minute, how about focusing on that really brilliant, well you, who has a great immune system, which is really useful in September, October, November, December, January and February. And I'd like you now just to start to relax and notice the sounds in the room, starting to hear the sound of my voice as you're starting to slow yourself down. And when you're ready, I want you to bring to mind time of health and vitality. And you can be confident that you can find one of those times in your life of health and vitality. And when you have one of those times, I want you just to nod your head. I'm just working to create one of those times, and if it's difficult to create, then just maybe borrow from somebody or something. I always borrow from my cat, who has that fantastic sense of wellness and well-being and calm. And you're taking yourself to a place of wellness and well-being and calm. And you're starting to get a sense of the temperature there, of the air on your skin. You're starting to get a sense of the things that you see. Maybe it's a time of holiday. Maybe you're on the beach, on a hilltop, just looking at a beautiful view. Maybe you're there, in a garden, somewhere really calm, noticing the weather. There, in your place, noticing the temperature of the air on your skin. And you're turning that up there. Turning up the things that you're seeing. Sounds and the silences. Turning up how that feels to be there. Anything in the here and now. It's okay. You just take yourself back to that place. If you find your mind wandering, that's okay. That's normal too. You just allow yourself just to be in that space. Turning that up there. And you notice yourself, and if you've not already done that, just noticing the posture, noticing the facial expression, noticing the expression on your face, noticing the way that you're moving when you're in this place of confidence and well-being and calm. You're turning that up, right the way up, and if you've not done so already, just step yourself into that place. Step yourself into that view, stepping in, feeling that sense of posture, that sense of facial expression, and that sense of calm building in and there. To give yourself colour for this experience. Get a sense of yourself there, just taking in that experience, breathing that in, all the way through you. Notice that level of calm just naturally increasing. Noticing the level of kindness too, maybe unusual for you. But really noticing that and turning that up, and well-being and confidence flowing through you as you fill yourself with that calm. And then just get a sense of taking that into the future, the next 30 seconds maybe. Maybe it's straight in front of you there, maybe it's to the left, to the right. And you're stepping into that future. Practice this now. Practice and sleep. The colour is with you as you walk through your day with this increased sense of calm and well-being and kindness, confidence and breathing in. Taking yourself further into the future. Maybe it's the 50th time you've done this now. It's really familiar to you. This is an experiment, just feel what it feels like. Just be operating in this way. Just focused on comfort. Filling all of those brain boxes with what is useful for you. Focus there on confidence and well-being and calm. Message does this you from the future give to you now? Notice how you deal with any challenges when you're in this space, in this way. Life does do its thing from time to time, but we can be resilient when we go past it. And then you're just bringing and posing all of that learning back into the now, bringing the colour back into the now. And you can just start gently, as you wish, to notice that colour around you. Maybe later today, maybe this evening. And that colour reminds you to bring yourself to this space, calm, well-being and confidence. Through really state shifting, we are in a place of calm, and we are naturally more resourceful when we're calm. We're in a place of confidence. We dance like more resourceful when we're there. Yeah. And being kind to us is one of the most powerful things we can do. It's absolutely the opposite of anxiety. So one of the things that we can do is move ourselves to a place of kindness where we treat ourselves well. And these are really key things for well-being. And that's just a little taster of the kind of things that you can do. We don't need tablets to change our state. We don't need other people or music or things. We can learn to access those own eternal resources ourselves through our mind, whether it be